is how it treats its women and girls. It's women and girls. We create the smart, powerful, creative, accomplished young women. We can fight. I'm here because of you. I'm here because girls like you inspire me. Many of these girls have faced unthinkable obstacles just to attend school.
Buckle up, buttercups. It's another episode of Surly Voices here on WMNF Tampa 88.5. My name is Liz. I'm one of your hosts. Joining me via Zoom is my co-host, Maria. How are you, Maria?
I'm great, Liz. I'm sorry. I was in the middle of mid-sneeze.
Oh. It's that Sahara dust, I'm afraid. You know?
Isn't it, though?
I have talked to more people in the past few days who are sick and with just like this mystery crud. So I blame it on the Sahara dust. Anyway, we want to thank our listeners for supporting us during our fund drive. We are so appreciative. I want to say a labor of love, but not really. I don't like doing those shows because it's just like, I don't like asking people for money. That's why I can't have my own businesses, because I will just, do everything for free, and then there we go. No way to make money off of doing everything for free. So, what are we talking about this morning, Maria?
I think there's a few interesting topics. The latest headline being Karine Jean-Pierre leaving the Democratic Party.
Yes.
Again. A book.
A book
coming.
Yes.
In October.
There's always a book. Yeah.
Let's talk about that a little bit, and let's talk about the royal breakup between Elon and the Donald.
Yes, there's
trouble in paradise.
So trouble in the eighth circle of hell, more like. But anyway,
but who didn't see it coming, right?
Exactly. You can't have two megalomaniacs, head to head, and expect that there will be peace and collaboration. Here comes RFK Jr., aka Brainworm Man. And I would love to describe the gesture that Frank just made, but it would violate. No, it wouldn't violate, but it's a bit much for 10 o'clock this morning. Anyway, Brainworm is going to tell medical schools to teach nutrition or lose federal funding.
But they do teach nutrition.
Exactly. Brainworm does not realize that. I know certainly we learned it in nursing school, so I know they don't teach a lot of stuff in medical school that's not strictly doing with medical issues, doctor issues. But I do know that they get some course in nutrition and all that stuff, because they have to know what kinds of things to prescribe, like helping people who have type 2 diabetes navigate the world of nutrition. Yes. I haven't had enough coffee yet, so bear with me, folks. And then also it's Pride Month, so we got lots of things to talk about. If you want to give us a call, 813 239-9663, or you can email at dj@wmnf.org. And we're not going to be posting clips today because I literally rolled out of the bed and into the studio. So it's not going to happen today. But we will we'll scan the audio, and then I have plenty of clips from olden times when I can put them in. So yeah, what's your hottest point, Jean-Pierre?
I wouldn't say it's my hottest point, but I just thought it was fascinating that, right out of the gate, I think she's got a story to tell. Will she tell it? I'm not really sure.
Well,
right?
She may. That's probably why she preemptively left the Democratic Party in advance, because she knows maybe she's got like a bombshell coming.
But you know what? Is that the canary in the coal mine telling everybody to jump ship or what? But because if you're dancing that close to the sun,
Mm-hmm.
and now you're gone,
right?
I think that that's an interesting thing. I obviously can't speculate on. But I'm fascinated what transpired that was your choice,
Yeah.
right?
Right. Well, I am approximately halfway through Jake Tapper's book, and oh my God, it's worse than we thought. I mean, because it was quite evident. Apparently, Biden surrounded himself with a very, very tight circle of very, very few people. And I don't know their names, but you and Donna would probably know their names. But anyway, and so anything that came through or got to Biden had to pass through these three dudes. And it's like, wait. And then Kamala Harris is like out in the fringes because they don't want her anywhere near Biden because the contrast is too great. So
really,
yeah. So and they did not do anything to help her until I just got done with the part that is after the disastrous debate. So I need to finish reading up to see, how hard he kicked and screamed not to leave. But the biggest facilitator seems to be his family, in particular his wife. If in other words, her deal was if he wants to run, he's going to run, and I'm going to be 100% behind him. And that is just, they all need to be in jail. How do you it's elder abuse almost, because it's like, okay, wait, here he is. He can't remember, and, people that he's known for 1,000 years, like George Clooney. It's like, how do you not know who George Clooney is, even if you don't know George Clooney for 20 years?
I just remember this press conference he had months before that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And and the thing about it is that either technology / media is much more sophisticated than it's been in the past, or people are just more reckless and dumber than they were in the past. But I remember this press conference with him, and he walked away from the podium, and his gait was just really, really slow.
Yes, and shuffling, and
shuffling, and then it was almost like he was moving through Jell-O, and
Right.
then somebody shouted a question at him. He stopped. He turned around and looked over his right shoulder, and it just was so eerie that he was just the look on his face was just so vacant. You know what I mean? I was like,
Yes.
oh my God, what's going on?
Right.
And that has nothing to do with his current medical condition, which we all hope the best for him. But I was just, after seeing that, I was like, is this guy going to be able to make it?
Right.
It was more pronounced than, sometimes you would see him walk to the helicopter or something like that. And the reason why I say either our technology is more sophisticated or we are less sophisticated is, I remember like reading in history about FDR, and nobody ever even knew that he was in a wheelchair.
Exactly.
Nobody ever even knew about JFK and how bad his medical conditions were. And it was just out there for all the world to see with Biden, right? Like certainly with those other two men, there was no compromise in their faculties or anything like that. And, I'm struggling with two things, and that's probably the reason why I chose to like boycott the book. That's why I'm asking you.
Okay.
I'm struggling with like, what is our duty, whether it's as journalists, as citizens, as members of the White House staff or whatever. What is our commitment to the public in terms of his medical condition, right?
So
and then like, what is your obligation as a journalist to not, and this, I had the same issue with Robert Woodward.
Yes.
When he was reporting on Trump. And then the only time you found out anything is when he had a book to publish, right?
Exactly.
He sat on information for a year, right?
Exactly. And that's the same.
And how is that fair?
Right. It's the same thing that happened here. It's absolutely the same. I mean, this dude, I knew that Maria was loath to read the book because she didn't like the whole idea of it. But I'm like, okay, if my lying eyes told me 8 months before the debate that this dude was not right, then I know other people knew it way before then, and it does go back years. So let's talk to Gary in Largo real quick. He's been hanging on for a while. Hi, Gary.
Hey, thank you as always for having fantastic progressive show. And let's just say that the Democrats have many failures. One of them was covering up what was happening to Joe cognitively. But the double standard from the media and the Republicans is that Ronald Reagan was senile. And
yes. Actively having Alzheimer's in the White House.
He was gone 2 years before his retirement from the presidency. His wife was running policy with an astrologer. That's a fact.
Yes.
Yep.
The Republicans didn't say anything about that. Two quick thing. There is the YouTube version of your show, although not surly and feminine enough. But these guys, and I consume a lot of media, having been in the media, these guys, Roland Martin and Reese Waters, African-American men who, although using African-American issues as a bulwark, a theme for their shows, are absolutely spitting fire and doing it better than any other progressive media that you've probably heard of, such as Midas Touch Network, etc. And really, I urge everyone, they do like live shows that are so freewheeling and fact-based, where Roland especially is like a preacher, and he's just running citations and studies and news articles and putting together not just the theme of systemic racism, but how the country being founded in a bloody revolution, then a genocide of Native Americans, then the genocidal slavery of African Americans, and and brings it forward to today. And also, they're both very entertaining, and dare I say it, especially Reese Waters, very good looking.
Oh, okay. We'll have to give it a watch.
Everyone, especially, I hate to say it like this, but everyone, especially African Americans, I'm sure if they love your show, they're going to love Roland Martin and Reese Waters, who are doing tons of content that's novel, iconic, and absolutely brutal against all the bad things that are going on. Thank you again for everything.
Awesome. Hey, Gary, you should call them and tell them to plug our show.
Exactly.
Contact them. And really, to be honest, I would reach out to their show. They have lots of guests on. And I would guarantee that they would have you guys on, that you are the kind of people who they have on, people who've been in the political consultancy class, people who are highly educated, people who are beautiful and articulate. They would love to have you. So I will contact the showrunners, but you guys should reach out to them as well.
Okay, let's do it. All right. Thanks, Gary.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. All right, let's talk to Vivian in Waimama. Hi, Vivian.
Hi. As usual, I love your show. And I think I understand the point you're trying to make, but I would like to point out that regardless of Biden's failures, he was still a champion of women.
I think
champion of minorities.
Wow.
And
okay.
And yes, I feel very strongly that is the case. I mean, he is not the one responsible for the fall of Roe v. Wade. And he appointed women and people of color. But my biggest point is that he is not the problem. Today we have far bigger problems, and the misogyny that is going on rampantly in our country under the current administration of a convicted felon and sex offender. That's where we need to be spending all of our energies and all of our conversations, because women in this state and in this country right now and under this administration are second-class citizens. And I don't know what's the point of deriding Joe Biden, who, again, I understand, I think the point you're trying to make, that the citizenry needs to be informed. But, again, I think our energies need to focus on what is happening to women and minorities and others in this country now.
Well, go ahead.
I would argue that you can't extract one from the other. And I would argue that if we are not principled in our execution of democracy, this is how we get here.
Exactly. And I would add, Vivian, Donna, can you mute your computer, please? Sorry. I would add that Joe Biden was not a champion of women or minorities. He pushed through the crime bill. He was the one in charge of the Clarence Thomas nomination hearings, which all of y'all seem to have forgotten about.
That is true too.
And he had the chance to blow Clarence Thomas up right then and there because he had witnesses stacked up in the back. But he left Anita Hill out there hanging on a ledge all by herself, making it look like she was the only one talking about this stuff.
And her career never recovered.
Her career never recovered.
And let me say this.
Hey, Donna.
Hey, let's say this. Let's say she's right. Just for a moment, let me play devil's advocate. Let's say she's right and Joe Biden is this prolific champion of women and that we are deriding him without causation, just bullying Joe Biden. Well, the problem with that is, had he recognized his failings early on.
Thank you. I was just going to say.
This would never have happened. Well, it could have happened. We don't know we don't know with absolute certainty. No one does. But the reason that we found ourselves with a campaign, she only had a few months.
Right.
We could have mounted this offensive, fielded other candidates if she wasn't polling well. But we didn't have that opportunity. It was a house on fire. They destroyed the entire house in an effort to put out the fire. And now we have Donald Trump. And I am so confused that people can't make the correlation between Joe Biden not being the one-term president he told us he would be.
Exactly.
Thank
Remember
you.
that? And the fact that he tried to run it past us and in the process burnt us down. And the Democratic Party, as a consequence of those activities, are experiencing an historic low.
Yeah.
In their popularity. They're having difficulty raising money. Did someone tell me the other day, Maria, maybe it was you, $300,000 they raised in one quarter?
Yeah. Yeah.
The candidates raise more than that.
Right.
You're talking about a nationwide pool of known donors. They don't want to give money to the DNC. So when you say we're deriding Joe Biden and when you chastise and scold us for that, which we'll take, by the way, I'm not whining. I'll stand up to it. Please remember that that is probably more than 75% of how we ended up in our current circumstance.
Exactly. And how we lost our rights, how we lost Roe v. Wade. I mean, Joe Biden has had his hand in everything going on in the United States for the past 50 years. And to try to gloss over the impact, the negative impact school busing, the like I said, the crime bill. I mean, to call him a champion of women and minorities,
Ahistorical.
Yeah. So
Well, I'm not going to disagree with all the things you're saying, but I will point to his term as president, wherein he was, I think, and absolutely by comparison to what's happening now.
Absolutely.
He was our champion.
Cosign.
I just hate, I cringe at the idea of jumping on their bandwagon on the everything is Joe Biden's fault, when, again, I think our energies need to be focused on the deplorables that continue to support this administration.
Okay, well, I got to stop you right there and say this. Two things can be true at once, and I can walk and chew gum, right? Like, I'm glad that you agree that all of those things are true and that you can see those things, because a lot of the times the conversation that we're having is trying to prove to people that he did all of these things when it's right there for everyone to find, right? We have the world in our pockets in these phones, right?
Yeah.
It's not that hard. But I'm glad that you are meeting us there, and I appreciate that. But I got to say this. Just because someone has an opinion about this guy burning down the Democratic Party, because indeed he did, and he put us in this position that we're in right now, in large part, and the DNC is a burning house, and they can't raise money because it's basically, essentially what everyone's been saying. It's dead, right? But now it's a real thing that you can point to and see the evidence, right? But we can say our piece, and we should, because dissent is patriotic. And if the Democratic Party is out of pocket right now, who's going to check them? Because that's the only vehicle we have to get out of this.
Exactly. Because much like the way the media foisted Trump into the lead back when, it's like, he was a novelty. He made news. The media is not caring about telling us the truth. They're caring about viewership and clicks.
Right.
And so Trump was entertaining because he's comparing the size of his junk to the other folks on stage. That's entertaining. So of course he gets top spot. Well, guess how he won the election? Very much with the mainstream media's help. Mm-hmm. So we have to, and it does not serve us or the folks we advocate for, women, minorities, anybody who's on the margins of society. Mm-hmm. It does not serve them or us to ignore how we got here. Because if we whitewash what happened with Joe Biden and that debacle, then we're no better than the Republicans are.
And if all those things are true, we're literally embracing this guy because he's less toxic by comparison.
Yeah. And
that's no way to run a country.
Right. The bar was too low to start with.
Right.
So anyway, thank you so much for calling, Vivian. And thank you so much for listening.
Thank you. Keep
Bye-bye.
up the good work.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Let's talk to
Good
Ted.
Conversation. Good
yeah.
conversation.
Hey, Ted in Elfers.
Hello. Wonderful day, wonderful show. You all sound fantastic. Thank you for another good show. Everything that I was holding to say, you guys said so much better than I ever could. So I will say ditto. I think what I was going to say was 2 words, Anita Hill, in response to Joe Biden being the champion of women.
Yes.
It's that is always stuck with me. And the crime bill is so horrible, and the busing is so horrible. My issue boils down to the fact that there's a disconnect between the 2 political parties that are our only resolution to governance, being private corporations who have no interest in doing what the people want, which they've exhibited time and time again. And people keep electing governors who don't work in their own interest and see it and then reelect them anyway.
Right.
Yeah, but that's because of gerrymandering, right? Like
Yeah.
they make it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for a great show.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Ted.
you.
Hey, I gotta
Bye-bye.
read this text. Someone said that I think the Musk-Trump breakup is a smokescreen for the Heritage Foundation taking over Doge, as well as Palantir helping Trump spy on law-abiding citizens.
Absolutely.
Yes. I think that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Because
and let me just say this right here. Speaking of the smokescreen for the Heritage Foundation to take over, this is some of the work that Maria and Liz and I right now are doing for our last caller. Was it Vivian?
Yes, Vivian.
Like, we are working. That's what I dragged into the studio this morning. Like, I'm overworking.
Right.
Right? I'm overworking because I really want to make sure that we have good options going into this election, because we've got to turn this thing around. And I forgot to say that to Vivian, that we're actually saying these things while simultaneously, we're offering our critiques, but we're simultaneously working double time to make sure that we can turn this thing around at midterm.
Thank you. Absolutely. And so, yeah, yes, everything is burning all at once, Vivian, and we can't put out all the fires, but we can put out the big ones. And the biggest one to me right now is people in the Democratic Party who are, looking at this debacle that the DNC foisted upon us to even start with.
Yes. Yeah.
Because if they had left things alone, we wouldn't be in this situation.
And all of these discussions have to be grounded in those facts.
Yeah. I mean, we the people did not have the chance to, make our voices heard and not have Joe Biden as president. But, here we are, because the game was rigged. So,
To say the least.
yeah.
Maria was going to say something before I said that.
Yeah. Maria?
no. I'm good.
Okay. So let's see. We got some more emails, and one of them is, at this point, it's very difficult for me to not consider the Democrats complicit in the dismantling of not just our democracy, but our civilization itself. Being moderate right-wing party in this country, they are beholden to the donor class and get dragged to the right along with the other party. Charles.
No lies detected.
Exactly. And this is what we have been preaching this for 8 years now?
At least.
The fulcrum, we are so far to the right as a country now. Everybody who considers themselves a moderate Democrat now is right of Ronald Reagan. So
right.
There needs to be some kind of adjustment to bring us back into, even halfway.
Oh, I saw an article the other day. Maria, have you seen this? Ro Khanna in California, the congressman from California. He thinks that blue MAGA is the answer to
for God's sake.
red MAGA. And they call this the death path for the Democrats. And it was in the Atlantic. I didn't get to read it, but I'm going to go back and dig it out.
Please share.
Yeah.
Please share. That'll be next week's show. Let's have a conversation.
The whole show.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Well, do these people, I guess common sense is not as common a commodity as one might think.
Listen, I was just...
You know what? But here's the thing, right? I feel like, and I've seen I've seen this in a lot of different aspects of life, right? Panic forces some people to make very bad decisions, right?
Yeah.
And so you're seeing these decisions being made and these stupid ideas coming to the surface because people are panicking rather than being very intentional and very deliberate, right?
Yes.
Like you're seeing all of these people leaving the Democratic Party for this, that reason or whatever, but nobody's pressed pause and said, okay, what are our values?
Right.
What do we believe in?
Right.
What are we going to fight for? What are we going to champion? And articulating that and then leaving and casting to the side things that do not align with that, right? So this is a reason why you see like the only group of people with a lower approval rating than the president himself is the Democratic Party because nobody knows what they stand for.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, I found it. Ro Khanna really believes Blue MAGA can save the Dems, and Steve Bannon loves it.
Of course.
Yes. And it's in Vanity Fair. Vanity Fair.
If Steve Bannon is loving it, you know something's wrong with it.
It is wild. He's in the CD17, California 17, and he is sure that that's the way out.
Well, I got news for him. Oh my gosh. I can't even imagine thinking something like that, but here we are. And so yeah, the fallout between Musk and Trump, I do think is a cover story for. I do think there's some genuine animus there, though, because both of them like to be the very center of attention, and when they're together, usually Elon wins out because he's doing something wild. So you're starting to see now a lot more stories about Elon Musk's drug use, a lot more stories than you did before. Elon Musk is purportedly, allegedly, a ketamine addict and just stays on ketamine the whole time. And that's the thing. That's the drug that killed Matt Perry, I believe, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. His aide gave it to him. His assistant gave it to him. Hey, can I read this email?
Sure.
Hi, ladies. I agree with Vicky that we need to focus on the clownish fascists who are currently occupying the White House instead of focusing on Joe Biden. At least Biden surrounded himself with competent people, and he kept.
Did he? Did he? Did he?
That definitely requires
think-
a little break in the reading of this email.
I think, yeah, the answer to that is clear.
Okay. And he kept most of his staff over 4 years and added, because we know longevity
because
equals competence.
Oh my gosh,
Okay.
yeah.
In Washington, and added some stability to the White House after 4 years of chaos under the Orange Convoy. I'm curious about your take on the Florida Board of Governors voting down Santa Ano for UF president. I was really disappointed by this. I'm especially worried because it gives more power to Trumpster divers like Chris Rufo and Trump Jr. And now I suspect that yet another washed up politician will become UF president because that's the only safe bet in MAGA and the sadist country. And this is signed by David. Now, let me say this, okay? Again, I'm going to say this again. I get what you guys are saying. You're saying that that's a triple threat over there and that the Democratic Party is in a mess. But we have to find a way. We cannot allow our attention to be so on the thing that's already in motion that we allow the apparatus that is supposed to deliver us from the evil, right? We cannot allow that apparatus to remain in its current condition. And so these critiques must be loud and they must be constant. And we're not going to stop. There's nothing you guys can say to us.
So that we don't make the same mistake again.
There it go.
Yes.
There it go.
Those who cannot remember the past are doomed to repeat it.
So we can't be more in sync than that.
Lord have mercy.
So yeah,
Christ have mercy.
as soon as possible, right?
Yes.
Krishna and Jesus.
May I just say this about the Ono University of Florida thing? I think that it is a shining example of capitulation
Yes.
and acquiescing, not a game plan for success.
Right, because
Okay?
I think they downvoted him because he wasn't MAGA enough.
Thank you.
Like y'all are
Right?
Y'all are
He
serious.
changed his entire personality to try to fit these people, right?
Right.
And I got the same thing going on at my alma mater, who I beg, if from anyone from the governor's office, if you're listening, please consider poaching the president of Dartmouth College to consider the University of Florida. I will put that out there right now.
You can have
Because she is a perfect fit for the University of Florida. You don't have to worry about any the perfect fit, quite frankly, from union busting all the way to capitulation. So I'm just putting that out there. If anyone from the University of Florida Board of Governors is listening, I got the perfect candidate for you.
All right.
Having said that, I do believe, I don't feel sorry for this guy at all, number one. Number two, I feel like people are not paying attention enough to how we got here with respect to Florida as the test case for Project 2025.
Thank you.
Right?
Thank you. Yes.
People keep looking at this thing a la carte, right? And they look at, oh, there's this really terrible thing over there. I reject that. Oh, there's this really terrible thing happening here. Florida is the roadmap to Project 2025. And if you want to protect the rest of the country from this experience, number one, we have to take action here. Number two, we have to do a real critique and examination of what is going on and what has happened here, right? And remember, right, the patterns that got us here, right? Decide to do something about it. But capitulation is never going to be the answer.
Never.
Right?
Right.
There's only two solutions. There's only two solutions to saving democracy because we don't see it here in Florida. Number one, we could pray for the immediate acceleration of sea level rise to just swallow the entire peninsula, in which case we all got to move, or we can work to change the landscape, the political landscape of this state. But those are our only two choices, and those are the only two choices for the rest of the country.
And to that point, email says, working perfectly, it doesn't have a name, to display exactly why the dim left is dying. Keep on cackling, please, and thank you, sincerely.
Yeah, so don't worry, dude, because I'm sure a dude wrote this. Don't worry, dude.
Cackling is the giveaway.
Yeah, exactly. We will be turning our little laser focus to Trump next week.
And let me say this. You guys that are moderate Democrats and party loyalists that are being unreasonable about this, I think you're being unreasonable. You are the problem. Just because you don't want to hear it doesn't mean we're going to keep saying it. We're going to keep presenting to you exactly how we got here. It was our party to give away. Democrats were the incumbent. Okay. So if you're the incumbent, you're the sitting president, the sitting party, and you have everyone listening and people were so happy with the things that were happening, then we should have slid our candidate, whomever it was, into the position and kept going. And we didn't. We couldn't figure it out. And that needs to be studied and, for your entertainment, raked over the coals weekly.
Yeah. Let's talk to Mike in Sarasota. Hi, Mike.
Hey, thank you for taking my call. And I just wanted to respond to what one of your hosts was saying about what Democrats need to do. I've spoken with several Democrats after the election, and in my opinion, the reason Democrats lost the last election was because they are being smeared with their support or suspicion of support with some very, very unpopular causes. And these causes are even unpopular amongst Democrats. So my prescription...
Like what?
Start,
Yeah, like what, for instance?
well, hang on. I'm about to tell you.
Okay.
My prescription for the Democrats to succeed is to demonstrate daylight and make a big show of that daylight from the Democrats, and A, defunding the police, and B, allowing males to allowing people who once were male to compete in female sports. These things alienate a huge slice of the electorate, and I think the Democrats would do much better if they distance themselves from it.
Okay, well, thanks for your thoughts, Mike.
Well, I'm going to add something to that analysis that may stick. Everywhere in the Western Hemisphere, post-COVID, the populist leaders took flight. Okay, like they became the thing. And it didn't just happen in the United States. It happened everywhere. And I do believe that something similar, but maybe not as extreme, took place in all of the labor and green parties that counter the conservative parties. Right? It happened in Germany. It happened in France. It happened in England. It happened all over the world. It's even happening now in Scandinavia recently. Mm-hmm. Okay? And so that's been a trend. And so people are not buying whatever the party that is supposed to protect John Q. Everyman. They're not buying the prescription. And we got to figure that out. And you guys are a part of the problem. And I'm going to say young people who still have to buy homes, raise families, educate their children, they're not buying what you're selling either.
Right.
So what's happening is there's going to be a natural erosion of the idea that everything is fine. There's trouble in paradise, and we're going to see it and say it. Again.
I also think that. So I'm struggling with this idea that Democrats talk too much about trans issues, or I think that's what people on the right, particularly the hard, have amplified. Yes. I don't think anybody cares, right?
Yeah. Like when was the last time you heard defund the police?
What we talk about is equal protection under the law, and it shouldn't matter to you what anybody is nobody's business what anybody else's gender or sexuality is unless you're their partner.
Right.
It's nobody else's business. The problem becomes that their cudgel, their way of dividing us is to point to other people as the other. Right. And that you can't buy eggs because trans people are on the track team. Yeah, you can't buy eggs, right? You can't buy eggs because there are undocumented workers that are actually cutting your grass. Like you make it make sense to me because it doesn't. That's where I'm struggling.
We're in the middle of an unprecedented transfer of wealth, sans ethics, and that
exactly.
You can't buy eggs, and that is a diversion. And the other thing is, when was the last time you heard defund the police? I mean, you're dragging out these.
I mean, well, it's been like years and years.
It's been years, right? Like that was COVID. Like the peak of BLM was the 2020. It's 2025.5. So you're just dragging out these tropes. And the other thing I understand, and you guys hear me out on this one, the internet, okay? The internet. On YouTube, if your algorithms will serve you exactly what you believe, and it will deepen your biases, because that's all it's going to show you, okay? So if you have try this. Create a second account on Facebook, and on that account you put a Confederate flag or a thin blue line flag. Put your cover photo as a big truck, like a monster truck, and automatically you don't even have to say anything. You will start being affirmed as someone who is on the far right, and that's all you will see.
Oh,
yes, and so people are seeing things that confirm all of this thinking. It doesn't matter if it's true or not. So when I hear people say, our electorate just needs more facts, no, they're being deliberately led astray by the Dolly geocracy. It's deliberate.
Right. And while we're talking about trans people and trying to dehumanize trans people, they're out here poaching all of your information through Palantir.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this goes back to Cambridge Analytica, right? And then people just were like, oh, I'll just, no worries, right? Like, where are we going to go? And then people went over to Blue Sky. And now, hear this out. I saw the CEO, the woman who created Blue Sky, and she said that Blue Sky is for everybody. So you know what's about to happen next, right?
Exactly.
He wants to be the next Facebook.
Right.
So no longer is this like supposed to be a safe space for Dems. They're changing their branding. So I might as well go on Truth Social.
Greed is good.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And more greed is better.
All right, let's talk to John in Port Richey. Hi, John.
Hey, thanks for the show. Well, you brought up a whole can of worms with the media. That's like for a whole nother show.
Yeah.
But the two things that I see is gerrymandering, which I thought we passed a constitutional amendment not to have that. So what I'd like to see is a third-party entity create a map that would be each district would be representative by percentage of voters in Florida. And you could take like the top 3 or top 4 parties registered to vote at voters and pretty much do that with each district so they're at least more fair and equal. The second thing is money in politics. And I know that's going to be a hard thing to get out, but I thought probably one of the easiest ways to get at that problem is, first of all, go after corporations as people, because if you go back with these Supreme Court justices that are constitutionalists like Thomas and who is the other one? Alito and those people. Mm-hmm. Where in the Constitution in the 1700s or 1800s did it ever state that corporations were people? So it seems to me that would be at least a way to get in there and get the corporations out of being people. Once you do that, then you could regulate the money because they're no longer people and they don't have their free speech like I as a person do.
Well,
just a thought.
Yeah, as I recall, thank you so much, John. As I recall, the aforementioned Clarence Thomas was instrumental in the Hobby Lobby ruling, which said that people were corporations. Corporations were people pretty much that had rights. So that's just off at the top of my head, but corporations were not considered people for a very long time, and it's not in the Constitution. And yet here we are with precedent.
Yeah, if corporations were people, we wouldn't have had antitrust laws.
Right. Mm-hmm. So, but it's going to be interesting to see what the fallout is, because Trump is going to be investigating Biden and anybody who was around him during the past couple of years. It's just politics in the United States has gotten to the point where it's just the new president investigates the old president and goes on and on and on.
Yes.
But it's like, okay, wait a minute. If they had put Trump in jail for insurrection 1,000 years ago, this wouldn't have happened. And who was the president who could have done that?
Okay, I'm putting all my dolls back in the box and going home. That's it. Had enough. Come on, babies. Let's go. These people are not well.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, wait. You're to be, Joe Biden was the greatest thing since sliced bread. Well, Joe Biden could have put an end to all of this by forcing some kind of something with teeth in it from Merrick Garland to hold this dude up. Because, you look now, it's been rewritten to the point where, it was just a bunch of tourists who, a couple of them went in to take a tour of the chamber. And that's not what it was. Believe your lying eyes. You saw thousands of people storming the Congress.
I want to offer this to people because we've had quite a number of emails and people call in today and say, but I also don't want to suck up the last 4 minutes here. But if your car starts making weird noises or shaking or smoking, you don't just pat it on the dashboard and say...
or say, or this check engine light comes on.
Right. Oh, it's good for another 100,000
And then the
miles.
check engine light starts flashing.
And now it's smoking and it's making screeching noises so the people that you're passing by on the bus stop are like, what?
Right.
Pat it on the dashboard and say, we're fine, buddy.
Yeah.
Right? You take it to the shop. You have someone take it apart and look at what you think the problem is. You diagnose, you fix. So when we have these conversations, it's to consistently bring your attention back to the fact that we are not taking it to AAA and using our, once a year diagnostic to figure it out. You guys are saying, hey, don't talk about that. Focus on those guys over there. Well, the only reason those guys over there is because our gate was broken.
Yes.
So we aren't going to fix the gate? I mean, I don't understand your rationale.
Yeah. A lot of people have difficulty getting out of that mindset. I know my sister, for one, has astonished me here lately because she was a very staunch, middle of the road Democrat. Mm-hmm. And now this woman is out marching in
this is great. Julie?
Yes, in BLM parades and stuff. She's going to be protesting on June 14th. And it's like, wow.
My sister never liked politics.
By the way, I just want to point out something from one of our recent callers. I can't remember which one, but that mentioned defunding the police. Oh. Guess who defunded the police?
Yeah, say it.
Doge. Trump. They defunded the police.
They didn't defund ICE though, because
talking about us and what was going on 5 years ago, right?
Yeah.
ICE is making...
I'm just pointing that out for those who are not paying attention.
Right.
Because it seems like a lot of people are not paying attention.
And that's why we need civics back in school. But my sister was a person who was always like, I get so sick of you and that political stuff. Mm-hmm. And now she be lobbying. Yes. She be in D.C. standing in front of the Supreme Court holding up signs.
Exactly.
By how times have changed.
So, yeah, it's like you can talk to a quote-unquote centrist Democrat until your head falls off, but they just have to have that one come to Jesus moment, and then they're out marching and stuff. And so we just need to figure out what buttons to press.
And the opportunities are revealing themselves because people who, like Maria, they hunker down. They dig deeper. They say, we got to fix this. And then the opportunists just switch parties.
Right.
Here you go.
It's the easy thing to do. Yep. Charlie Crist.
I can feel.
What's that guy from the Midwest that was this super ultra MAGA in 2016? And then he got a podcast, and now he announced yesterday. I can see his face. I can't remember his name. He's like salt and pepper, gray hair, more salt than pepper. But it's this Midwestern guy. He used to be in Congress, and he switched to the Democratic Party yesterday. Former MAGA. Well, and you know what? Here's the thing. I don't want him. I am concerned.
Well, we already have Pennsatucky Shrek, so
right?
We don't need any more help. Thank you.
I am concerned
Come
that
through, Summerlee.
Come through, Summerlee. Exactly.
All right, so Frank is giving me the finger now, and it means it's time to wrap up. Thank you so much for listening to Surly Voices on WMNF Tampa 88.5. Please join us again next Thursday.
Thanks, ladies.
I like diamonds, I like stunning, I like shining, I like $1 million deals. Where's my pen? I'm signing. I like those Balenciagas, the ones that look like socks. I like going to the Tula, I put rocks all in my watch. I like texts from my exes when they want a second chance. I like proving wrong, I do what they say I can't. They call me Cardi,
This is WM.